Dawnbringer Chronicles. Part 3. Survivors. Night was never too dark in Akish, Volgrad observed. The star-splattered sky was cut with a nebulous haze of smoke from the great parch's veins. Long after Hish had made his descent, the realm remained ablaze with its own never-ending energy, and bellicose warrior Magron Torkinson thrived in the center of that energy, his arms spread wide, trying his best to channel it. Every single one of those trogs was as tall as a magmadrot, with huge hands that could crush a warrior as easily as a bloodfruit. The gathered fire slayers formed a silent ring amongst the basalt rocks. They were so still that Volgrad could hear the twigs cracking in the campfire. Many watched with half-eaten salamander skewers hanging limply out of their mouths. Volgrad leaned back against one of the dark stones and frowned so deeply that his eyes vanished under his eyebrows. He couldn't help but signpost his scorn towards Magron, who was, after all, prone to exaggeration. Their skin bloomed the color of bruises, and they hurled great boulders like they was pebbles. Magron continued, gesturing emphatically with ash-stained hands. I was there, watching my kin getting scooped up by those foul creatures as I took an axe to their mates. Yes, hearing the crunch of their bones as blunted fangs tore their flesh. Wenvigots was a decent-sized outpost just south of the Splitbro Lake, but they crushed us as easily as a passing ash flow might smother a single torch. How did you not see them coming? Volgrad huffed, taking another skewer from the fire. All the preparations in the world couldn't have saved our post, not with an unstoppable tide of those creatures on the move. Besides, Beardling, Magron added with a glint in his eye, it's not like you did any better. The fire ale that had so far colored Volgrad's temper was abruptly overruled by his pride. The warrior tossed his skewer aside and drew his axe. You have no right to speak of my people's plight. Magron picked up his pole axe from where it lay by the fireside, his smile darkening into a heavy-set snarl. Go on then, runt. What makes you think you fared better than I? The Duradin challenged, taking a step towards Volgrad as he spoke. Even a dankhole would have been drought pickings for our men, said Volgrad, relishing in their feeling of the feared story-hungry eyes turning upon him. We fought something even worse. Brandishing his axe, he stepped up to the campfire and let it illuminate him brilliantly from below. Picture the biggest Strogoth you've ever seen. Make his flesh as hard as the earth and as cracked and unforgiving as it too. Give his eyes a madness, a hunger for nothing but wanton destruction. And atop him, Volgrad sucked in a breath and leaned down towards the flame. He drew his arm in a great arching sweep over his head. Atop his back stood a portal, heavy with magic. Such creature does not exist, Magron growled, slamming the butt of his pole axe into the ground and making Volgrad flinch. You and I face the same foe, Volgrad. Don't try to escape from the shame of our losses by inventing a foe you couldn't defeat. He was very much real, and he crushed 3 of my kin for each one you lost. Sounds like your brethren should have laid off the fire ale. Under the flaming waterfall of Magron's beard, Volgrad caught him smirking. For a heartbeat, he stared down Magron's ruddy little face. Every heartbeat that echoed in his ears whispered the names of the fallen. Drof, Yarok, Gunvar. Then he charged. Brilliant sparks exploded between them as fire steel met in a 3-way clash. One of the gathered crowd had strid to life from besides the shadowed rocks in an instant. The interloper crossed the campfire and glanced at the warring blows of his sparkling hammers. The fire's glow was replaced by the pulsing of a light so warm, so primal, that Volgrad found himself immediately entraced. The entire camp fell silent as the grim warrior forced their blades down to the sides. The scent of burnt smoke formed an aura around him as it permeated the camp. Enough, said the newcomer, a battle-scarred survivor who had introduced himself as Fiori. The single word held a weight that stamped out Volgard's temper like an ember under his heel. Each Duradin life taken from us is united in equal tragedy. Volgrad showed Magron one more sour look, but there was no bite behind it. The argument paled when looking at the paired hammers borne by the somber Grimbarzikiri, flickering with the embers of a master flame saved at the cost of the fallen hold. The memory of 1,000 lives carried on a single set of shoulders, waiting to be rekindled once again, unless, shudder to think, Fiori died. The Duradin of Guzenhold, Volgard ventured, placing down his axe once again. Tell us of them, Fiori. The exile stepped off the fire's remains and sank down against the dark rock. He pattered the ground near him, and the feuding survivor sat in the dust once again. Volgrad reached for a fresh salamander skewer and handed it to the old warrior. Sighs of relief rippled across the gathered herd. Fiori bit into his skewer and leaned back into Akishi's rock cradle. The last of the smoke drifted softly away from the night's breeze. All around the exile, the group of impatient Duradin waited for him to speak. He chewed, swallowed, and allowed himself to remember. Guzenhold wasn't a large place, but it had a bright future ahead of it once, he said. When old Jorgul Grimnir first burst out of the shadow of his father, he had a great vision for his new hold. They built it between two mountains in an adamant chain, and its halls and walkways struck out like the rivers of magma they bridged. 'Twas truly a masterpiece. Course, that was what did us in. The vermin surrounded us upon our bridges and our tunnels. At the last, my brother Yulgar continued to beat them bloody, even as they sliced the skin from his arms and legs with their wicked little blades. Fiori sat back and gazed darkly at the stars. Volgrad held his breath. Images of his own outpost demise still haunted him. Bodies burning with acidic Trogot vomit, corpses adhered to Trog's giant hands where they had been squashed without a second thought. The tang of blood cooking on hot rock. They didn't kill us quickly, Fiori continued. Cursed ratmen were dishonorable till the end. I'll never forget old Jorgul Grimnir's steaming tears as he died shielding his ruined son from the Skaven tide. Silently, Volgrad collected a new bundle of wood from his pack and piled it on the dead campfire. Fiori held his hammer above it, and with a soft spark, a new light flickered to life. By Grimnir's beard I do swear this, the exile declared. We shall pay back the pain we have suffered 100-fold. Every last vermin, grot and trogot, that lifted even a finger towards our kind will suffer by our hand. As the campfire blazed brightly once again, the Akishian steam was pierced by countless raised fire-steel blades.